This is unfinished and untitled. The first boy was hideous. Of course, I didn't think so at the time, but Mama knew better. Did everything she could to make me see what she and the rest of the world saw, which only made him more beautiful to me. He gave me a ring. Pimples and yellow teeth convinced me to do things at 13 that Mama would never believe. The second was a secret, and for only one afternoon because he was my best friend. He'll stay a secret because he died in his bed at 32, lying beside his wife of 6 months. I think he loved me, and I can't consider that I might have loved him too, might have been beside him in that bed. So it was quickly on to the third, who was more handsome than the first, full lips and a slender nose, thin build and an odd gait. He played baritone saxophone, liked to whisper in my ear and listened to death metal. Danzig and folded love letters, I want to marry you, written lightly in pencil, no question mark, just in case he didn't mean it. The fourth, my mama always said, was the most handsome of them all. Half Egyptian and fair skin, just over 6 feet tall. He was the tallest and had green eyes. He'd tell me how to hold my fork and cut my meat, and I tried to do it right. He was the only one who cheated on me, as far as I know. Scars to remember him by. The fifth, oh, can I remember the fifth now? Friends called him by his last name, and well, sometimes I don't count him because I never told anyone about this uncircumcised boy who landed in my life at an odd time, just out of high school and ready for anything except a boy who wanted to love and treat me right. Instead, I went on to the sixth, who was also hideous, but in a different way than the first. Dark-skinned and so intelligent, sweat collected in tiny beads on the bridge of his nose when he got nervous. He studied mechanical engineering at Berkeley and treated his mother poorly. I should have known he would be the worst of them all when he called her a bitch. I still liked ugly then, but didn't they all lead up to him? Fingertip-shaped bruises on odd places changed my DNA, scars to remember him by. The seventh was the sixth's best friend. The seventh saw it all go down and wanted to put me back together again. China doll skin and delicate like porcelain. We talked for hours about the beginnings of the universe and the brain and the purpose of emotions. I loved him for a decade and he gave me a ring. But again, no question mark at the end. Could never get over the fact that I fucked his best friend. But I thought, weren't you ashamed of me? Ashamed his love resented me. So it was on to the eighth with dark brown hair, and this time not quite green or brown eyes, but a mix of both because a grandfather had one of each. Mama didn't register the eighth because I was grown and we were separated by a long drive and too many years without caring. So Mama never knew the eighth was a pool shark who poured a stiff drink, or that we'd party hard, end up in bed, wake up and go to church on Sundays. Unwashed faces, mascara clean with the tips of wet fingers, and out the door still buzz, in a version of the outfit we wore the night before. I'd walk away from our conversations, realizing none of my questions were answered and couldn't understand why. That laugh like champagne bubbles all over me. The 9th, 10th, and 11th, 16th, or 60th, no one was counting at that point. Their bits and pieces clung to me. The one with 2 children, boys in grade school who looked like twins but weren't. The one who wanted me more, which never works. So it was on to the next who couldn't remember my name. The one who was married and the one who wanted pain. There was the one I couldn't stand but tolerated for nearly a year. The 2 or 3 who were just so beautiful I was in disbelief their bodies landed in my bed. A model, an athlete, a trust fund baby who fed me delicious plates of rare meat and bottles of red wine whose labels I couldn't pronounce. Their bits clung to me like the years that passed around my eyes and the droop of my ass. But the eighth was always there, a pretty pebble slipping around in my mind, slithering around my questions and avoiding answers, answering late night calls, picking me up from here or there just to drop me off with a kiss and a promise to return, loving me in secret for years, never caring to know about those other bits that collected in the corners of my eyes, my thighs, my heart. It was the eighth who I married on the rocky shore of an island, a speck in the San Francisco Bay, two strangers as witnesses because we had to have them and couldn't decide. No ring this time. Eloped, and I always told Mama that's what I do, but she never believed it would really go down that way. Expectations drowned in clay-colored water that day, but it went down just like that. And when I told Mama I'd married a woman, she was split in two. Which would Mama mourn first?